Introduce yourself, state your name and DOC number for the.
Cornell King.
Go ahead, what's your number?
Cornell King, 487898.
Hi, Cornell. My name is Brennan Kelsey. Along with me is Mr. Marabella and Ms. Renatza will be your panel. We'll ask you some questions. You can respond. At the end, you can make a statement. We'll take a vote. You understand the process?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay, Cornell King, DOC number 487898. Fourth class offender. Parole eligibility date 4/5/2023. Not eligible for good time. Full term date 10/3/2052. 49-year sentence, 6 months for armed robbery. Habitual offender. Does that sound correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please answer, Mr. Renatza. And we have, I apologize, Mr. Renatza. We have Mr. Randy Meyer here at the appropriate time. He can speak. Thank you for being here. Mr. Renatza.
Mr. King, good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. King, I noticed you've been at there at that facility just almost a year.
Yeah, 11 months, like right at 11.
So prior to that, you spent you were at Angola. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So let me first go over with you just a little bit about your criminal history, which is concerning. You have, you're here, as Mr. Kelsey mentioned, as a habitual offender for armed robbery. Your prior, I see prior convictions, armed robbery, 2 in Florida, 1 in Mississippi.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have some pending felony charges in St. Tammany. Are you aware of that?
Did I do? Excuse me, say that. Could you repeat that?
Pending felony charges in St. Tammany.
Do I have any pending? That's what you asked me?
No, I'm telling you, are you aware of that?
No.
Obstruction of justice and distribution of Schedule 2.
That was withdrawal.
All right, my record doesn't show that. It is still in my record. I just want you to know.
All right.
But even though, I mentioned the 4 armed robberies, it looks like you have about 10 arrests for armed robbery. You know, what is all that about? What's going on?
She breaking up.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out, Ms. Renatza.
Okay. Mr. King,
Yes,
why were you arrested at least 10 times for armed robbery?
I wasn't. Not for armed robbery. Maybe for some more charges, but not for armed robbery. I only been arrested 4 times for armed robbery.
All right. Well, why were you involved in armed robberies over and over?
Why were you involved in armed robberies?
When I was young, coming up, I was one of the guys that was trying to fit in, trying to, hang with the wrong crowd. Plus I was on drugs, I'm a crackhead, and one thing led to another, and I was really a follower.
How long you been in jail?
Right now, 20 years.
Right. And how old are you?
I'm 54. I'll be 55 in May.
So you committed this offense for what you're in jail now for 20 years when you were about 34 years old?
Yes, ma'am.
That's kind of old, don't you think?
Yes, ma'am.
Young and 34 is.
That was my last armed robbery. My last I was just saying earlier, it was for like my first armed robbery. I was like 15, 16 when I went to prison for my first one.
Well, let's talk about the one you're in jail for now.
Okay.
What was that about?
Living in Louisiana on my own, homeless, and still on drugs. Still thinking I'm a youngster, still thinking I'm a kid, and just wasn't thinking, just in the world. I was just in the world. I was lost.
Okay, so let me say this. You Tell me about your write-ups. When did you last write up?
My last write-up was in 2021. It was
What was it for?
I think it was an aggravated disobedience.
Okay. So as I look at your record, I'm concerned about
Yes,
lack of programs. I see that in 2012, you completed an anger management. 2017, completed the 100 hours. That was at Angola.
Right.
And in 2022, you did parenting. But you haven't said anything about, a substance abuse program. Have you done that? Any of that?
Yes, ma'am. I got 100 hours. I got substance abuse. I got anger management. I got victim awareness. I got survival kit, which is one of my spiritual certificates. I got the 12-step certificate. And right now, as we speak, I'm in ongoing celebration recovery.
Oh, good. So tell us about, you mentioned in those certificates, you had a substance abuse. Where was that at? You were at Angola?
Yes, ma'am.
It's called substance abuse?
Yes, ma'am.
Name of it?
Excuse
and
me.
the 12-step certificate was also at Angola?
No, that was here. 12 steps was here.
Okay. Tell us why you believe we should grant you an early release, considering your history.
I thought about that question and I meditated on it, because every time I looked at that question, I always was looking back into my past, like, what could I tell these people that would make them have favor in releasing me from my conduct that I've caused on the streets in my lifetime? And as I kept meditating on it, it came to me that, hold up, God told me that, look, the answer you're looking for, you're not gonna find it where you're looking at. Because I kept looking in my past, and my past ain't gonna never change. You say, what you got to do is you got to let them know what you're doing to go forward. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm taking classes. I'm trying to better myself. I haven't used drugs in 20 years since I've been down. My kids don't even know me. My oldest daughter, 30 years old, she don't know. My youngest daughter, 20 years old, she don't know. My mom, she's 76 years old. Got brain tumors. And it's just that so much hurt that I done brought on, not just my victims and their families, but my own family, And, I just hope that when y'all looking into my jacket or look into my prison record, that y'all will see that, okay, well, yeah, in such and such a year, he was this type of person. Now, from what we see, from what he's accomplished and how he's tried to keep his conduct record straight. Hopefully that y'all can see a change in me. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to show a change so that when my people do see me, that they can see that, hold up, that's not the same person that he was 20 years ago when he came to prison. He don't think the same. I don't do things that I used to do.
So you mentioned, your children don't know you. Well, whenever if you were successful, where would you live?
Oh, me and my mom stay together.
Where's that?
In Florida, Boynton Beach, Florida.
How would you support yourself?
My mom, like I say, my mom has to have someone with her at all times due to her brain tumors. And like I was telling her, I was like, well, Mom, you know, I come home, I can probably go work with with one of my uncles, which does construction work. And she was like, look, all I want you to do is come home and take care of me. Make sure I'm okay. Take me to
that's a tall order. That's
appointment.
Order concerns me. I don't have any other questions. Gordon, is there anything you can share with us?
Well, Justin is he's been here just a short amount of time. He's got a fairly pretty good bit of time. We didn't make him a trustee based on the time he's got left to serve. We have been looking towards making him a mentor in our transition program, but we haven't reached that point yet.
Thank you.
All right, we'll hear from Mr. Randy Meyer.
Good morning, Randy Meyer, Assistant DA in Jefferson Parish. We strongly oppose to Mr. King's request. He was arrested on 6 occasions for armed robbery. 4 of those times he had 2 counts of armed robbery, which makes 10 arrests for armed robbery. That spanned a 35-year time period. He has a low risk assessment, which amazes me. I know that really makes me question the risk assessment calculations with a low risk assessment with his history. Programming has been limited. He's said a couple of programs that he's completed that are not in the record, and I do not have a list of his disciplinary report. All of his disciplinary is well in the record, but he stated his last one was in 2021 for aggravated disobedience. So that tells me he's still getting disciplinary reports. He hasn't figured out the things he needs to do to stay report free. He hasn't figured out the things to do to get the type of programming he needs to help himself, including vocational training. There's nothing, I see nothing of that in his record. I think he's a danger to society. I'm not one that believes a lot in aging out of crime. You take the guy on the North Shore who recently was released and killed the priest in a church work. That was an older gentleman who had gotten out on parole. So we're strongly opposed to his request at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Andrews. For the record, that guy got out on good time parole. I think the guy in St. Tammany. Would you like to make?
He was still old and didn't age out of the his criminal activity.
Right. I know what you're trying to say. I was just letting you know that was a good time parole. That wasn't released from this board.
Yeah, I understood that. I knew that. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
All I can say is that I hope that y'all could give me a chance to prove myself that the 20 years that I've been down, that I'm not the same person.
All right, thank you. Panel prepared to vote. Ms. Renata?
Well, Mr. King, I believe you're not the same person you were 20 years ago.
Yes,
and I believe that you're on the right track. I'm just not convinced you're there yet. You know, I know you want to get out of jail, and for us, it's about keeping you out of jail. You know, your programs have been limited. I realize that, you know, it was probably fairly recently that you realized you'd have a parole eligibility. And so that's when you started working on your programs. You know, the 2021, even though it's 2 years ago, that write-up for aggravated disobedience, that's a concern for me. And I agree with the DA's office that I believe you could also benefit from vocational skills training. My vote today is to deny, to take advantage, and advise you to take advantage of programs. I'm encouraged that the warden there is considering working towards allowing you to be a mentor. That speaks, that shows me that you're on the right track. So I wish you well, and I hope to see you again. Good luck.
Mr. Marabella?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe you're on the right track. I just think you need a little more work. think you'll ultimately get there. So keep working hard. Encourage you to keep working hard. Perhaps next time the vote might be different. For today's purposes, my vote would be to deny.
And I vote to deny your parole for the same reasons as stated. 3 votes to deny. Today, your parole's been denied. Good luck to you. We'll adjourn at 11:09. Thank y'all.